7 traits of 7-figure coaches. In this video, we're going to go through some of the highest performing coaches that I've ever worked with, not through their stories, but just through some of the most common traits that I see in each and every single one of them. When I was trying to put this together, it wasn't meant to be 7 and 7. Realistically, I was just like, how many traits can I see across the board here? And I found about 15 or 16 or 17 different traits, and I've whittled it down to 7 of the most common traits. So taking away anything that was found in many and instead only sharing the ones that were the most common and the most impactful. Now, if you're new here, I'm Neil Shoney Mac. Over the last 8.5 years, I have been coaching online coaches to grow their coaching businesses through advertising, but also follow-up strategies such as social media, email marketing, super spike offers, and things of that nature. I've been running ads myself for over 13 years and grown my coaching business to the point where we've got about 220 active clients at the moment at time of recording. And so if you want great ways to grow your coaching business every single week, then don't forget to hit subscribe, hit like, and if you're a really good human being, put a comment down below as well. But into the video. Okay, so the first trait of the 7-figure coaches is that they get amazing results for their clients and they ask their clients to showcase that proof, whether that's in before and after images, they get video testimonials, they have screenshot messages from clients, or whatever they can gather together. They get amazing results, they get it in abundance, but they don't forget to go out there and get that proof. Every single 7-figure coach that I've worked with, indeed any coach that has been hitting anywhere above, let's say 200,000, so multi-6-figure coaches and above, every single one of them has got great results for their clients. And secondly, they've always been able to showcase great results. The thing is, great results touch absolutely everything. If you're advertising, your results play a part in getting the people to opt in. When they're opted in, when you're showcasing a training or a lead magnet or a live masterclass or a 5-day challenge, the proof that you can share massively affects how engaged people are going to be and how many people are going to take action at the end. When you're putting out a super spike offer on social media or inviting people to apply with you, not just sharing proof. It's not just, hey, if you share proof, you get more people to reach out to you. It's how good is that proof and what is the abundance of proof that you're able to share. So if you're getting great results for your clients right now, one of the key ways that you can get epic results or way better results with everything that you're doing with your marketing so that you can onboard clients much easier and at much higher volume without any additional work is to make sure that you're getting that proof so you can then share it. If you've been following me for any length of time, you probably already know we showcase proof all the time. It's not just a unicorn client here or there. We share proof pretty much every single day of the entire year, whether it's on social media, inside stories, if it's on an email, we're sharing proof all the time. We have 2 emails a week that go out that are proof. We have 3 or 4 social media posts that go out, but we also share on other days other proof that isn't shared on either of those inside our stories to show that not only do we help clients go to 6, multi-6 and 7 figures, but we're having it happen all the time. It's not just one unicorn client that's ever done it. It certainly isn't a coaching program called 7-figure this or 7 figures that, where nobody inside the program is doing 7 figures. Instead, we showcase that proof in abundance. You need to do the same if you want people to be reaching out to you in abundance as well. The second trait here is they have 3 social media fundamentals absolutely nailed. That's social media frequency, social media quality, and also messaging throughout. So every single coach that I've worked with, again, multi-6 figures and above, have always had high frequency of content. And I mean, probably the ones that are over 500,000 a year, always in fact, or just about almost always, are doing 2 or 3 social media posts per day. And by the way, it's not just frequency. They're sharing great quality content every single day at that frequency. I'm not saying that you have to. I've seen plenty of coaches hit multi-6 figures by doing 1 social media post per day, as long as it's high quality content. And the third thing and most important thing is in place, which is consistent messaging throughout. This is who I help. This is how I help them. That messaging needs to be key throughout the entire process. But if you're one of those coaches that's thinking, I'm going to take the shortcut here, or I'm going away on holiday, so I'm not going to post for a week, or, well, I've just been busy, so I haven't posted in 2 days, or you get to 8:30 in the evening and you go, I haven't posted today, and you're trying to think of something that you can share, and you're just trying to, inverted commas, look alive. That kind of social media content is not going to generate any leads whatsoever, but it also means that everything else that you do, when you have a great super spike offer, or you want to follow up with people in the DMs who follow you or have engaged with you, you want to go to your unconverted leads, you want to run a masterclass, a 5-day challenge, you even want to run ads to people who know who you are, anything you touch with your marketing is going to have a lower effect if you're not nailing that foundation. That's why I say that even though so many coaches come to us specifically for ads, they come into our 90-day ads and funnels mastermind where they don't have to sign up for 18 months. They can literally just install perfect ad systems, perfect just for them, cherry picked from about 35 variations that we've got, and have them cherry picked directly for them, installed into their coaching business, and the first leads in 24 to 48 hours. There's a very big reason why at the start of even the 90-day ads and funnels mastermind, we start almost every single plan with social media first impressions, a thing that we do to make sure that messaging is correct, first impressions is correct, because even your advertising is going to be affected by how good your socials are. So it's a really big thing whether you want to use ads or don't want to use ads. Making sure that your social media content is great, the frequency is high enough, at least once per day, and the messaging is consistent throughout is so unbelievably important. Number 3 is that they all took the shortcut. And the shortcut is to use advertising. They didn't wait until they had hit 3K a month, 5K a month, 8K a month, 12, 15, 20K a month. They all took the shortcut early. The reason that they've been able to scale to the levels that they have inside their coaching businesses isn't just because they ran advertising after about 8 years of slogging with social media and things of that nature. Instead, they actually just took the shortcut early on. They got the ad systems in place, they found the right ad systems for them, they refined them, and they got them in a place where they were repeatable and they can turn them on and off like a tap. Again, that's what we do. We focus on not just bringing ads to coaches that can generate leads. We're talking about the whole conversion system, from generating a lead from cold traffic right through to the DM scripts, or indeed the slides of the webinar or the 5-day challenge to convert those leads into clients. It's so unbelievably important that coaches who want to scale quickly are utilizing advertising, because guess what? You can't be working 365 days a week. You cannot be working 24 hours per day. But advertising can. That can run in the background continuously, generating new leads, generating new book calls, generating new sales, even if you're nowhere to be found. If you're away on holiday or whatever it may be, your advertising can still run and you can come back from your holiday with a ton of book calls in the diary. Finding those great ad strategies, not just refining them and getting them to the point where they're massively profitable, but also scaling them like a coach that wants to go to multi-six, deep multi-six or 7 figures is your shortcut. It's not just a shortcut really though. I don't know any coaches, literally no coaches who are doing over $500,000 who have not touched advertising. Every single coach that we've ever worked with that is at deep multi-six figures or above has been utilizing advertising with us, usually for 6 to 12 months, but utilizing advertising very often even longer than that. So they've been finding those great ad strategies, they've been refining them, they've been scaling them and using them consistently to grow their coaching business. Month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year, ads are the shortcut. You can generate more leads in 7 days from advertising than you ever could in an entire year from social media content, even if you've got a big account. That is the power of advertising. And by the way, just so you know, we've got tons of coaches who have come in, even with brand new coaching businesses, and utilize ads. We have not said you have to wait till you've hit 25K or whatever that rubbish is that mentorships say to their clients when they're trying to retain them, when they don't know how to teach ads or run ads for themselves. That whole thing of you have to wait till 25K, Josh, for instance, who works with us, when he came to us, he was yo-yoing between 3K and 6K a month inside his coaching business, installed ads, like he said in his testimonial video, inside a coffee shop in an afternoon. He was able to ditch the expensive ad agency that wasn't getting him results, and now he turns his ads on and off like a tap with the same system over and over and over again. We've been working together for 8, 9, maybe 10 months now, and he is consistently hitting well over 20k a month inside his coaching business, as in usually 20 to 25k a month inside his coaching business. If he tried to nail social media, he would have been more consistently at 6k months. He might have hit a 7k month, an 8k month, a 9k month. Maybe even he would have hit a 10k month, but would he be consistently over 20k, hitting 22, 23, 24, 25 if he had not taken the shortcut in the short amount of time that we worked together by installing ads that bring in leads, hundreds of leads, in a 7-day period every single time he turns his ads on like a tap. Okay, trait number 4 is a little bit different for the way that they look at the results from advertising. So with advertising, a very common thing is to look at return on ad spend. And I love return on ad spend. It is a great metric to look at and say, hey, when we spend £1, we get 7 back. We're at 7 times return. If we spend 1,000, we get 7,000 back. That's a great return. We're really, really excited. Let's scale it and all of those good things. But instead, when a coach is really trying to go to the next level, as in deep multi-6 figures, 7 figures plus, they look at the results of their ads a little bit differently. They look at the profit, not the return on ad spend. And the difference here is that, for instance, in that example, spending 1,000 and getting 7,000 back is a 7x return. But you can be at a 3x return and actually make more profit. So for instance, if you spent 10,000 on ads and you got a 3x return instead of a 7x return, it might seem like, hey, things have completely gone backwards here. But what you've actually ended up with is 20,000 in profit, 10,000 in, 30,000 back, 20,000 in profit versus 1,000 in, 7,000 back, only 6,000 in profit. So where most people are always talking about return on ad spend, 5 times this, 7 times this, 42 times this, and very often, by the way, look out for this. You see when somebody says, look at my client who's been running ads and is getting a 62x return on ad spend, they usually leave in the fact that they've spent like 13 pence and they've sold like a £47 course, right? So it's like they spent 13 pence, but then they didn't get another sale for another, 12 days. So the difference is these coaches who are running these large scale coaching companies, they are looking at things in terms of how much profit do I get from the business on a month-to-month basis. They're not looking at return on ad spend, which is a great indicator of are your ads working. Instead, they're willing to scale into it, not worrying about their return on ad spend. Does it go from a 7x to a 3x return if I scale it? Because if they scale it quick enough, they can allow that to happen and they can have drastically more profit inside their business, just like the example that I just ran through there. Trait number 5 is that their mindset to both the good and the bad is completely different to coaches that are not hitting these big numbers, especially when you compare to coaches who are hitting well below 6 figures. So their mindset to good and bad is usually different from what I see. It's obviously not like everybody in this camp does this and everybody in this camp does this, but it's more common in coaches who are newer, who are, getting their feet wet, just getting started, and especially when they're making their way up to 6 figures, they're much more commonly a little bit reactive to good and bad. So for instance, for the good side of things, you might be thinking I'm talking only about when things don't go to plan. I mean good as well. So for instance, for the good, a coach that comes to me and says, like for instance, Josh. So I had a call with Josh very recently, and we were talking about how he had just got, I think it was a 7x or an 8x or a 9x return on his ad spend. But instead of getting overexcited about it and talking about, well, it's another 21k month or whatever, instead, he was like, so what do you think are the next steps to take this to a whole new level? Like if we wanted to double the return of each campaign that I did, what would be the next steps that I personally need to take? And that's the type of mindset of these coaches who scale very quickly. They don't get overly excited. And the thing is here, it's not to say that, don't celebrate your wins and things like that. It's not that at all. The great thing about a coach that can keep themselves grounded when things really go to plan and you've got an amazing ROI, or you've scaled like Josh did from 3 to 6k months right up to 20 to 25k months consistently. In that type of scenario, being able to be that type of coach that keeps yourself grounded when that type of thing happens, when you get 19k from a masterclass, for instance, in that type of scenario, you don't get complacent for the rest of the month. Because many coaches who are used to hitting 3K a month, 4K a month, 5K a month inside their coaching business, very often when we take them to 10K or 15K months, it can become stagnant because they get into a position where their strategies are so repeatable. They feel like this is incredible. Like, I've never had a business that's over 6 figures and things of that nature. And so they are easily put into a position of becoming complacent. And so it's very easy on the 10th of the month, when you're used to making 3K a month in your coaching business, if you've made 9K a month or you've made 9K by the 10th day of the month, it's very easy for the next 20 days of the month to basically take it off, or to really take your foot off the gas, or procrastinate through things, or don't give a level of detail and focus to the things that you know you need to do for the rest of the 20 days of the month that is remaining. Okay, so these coaches who are hitting deep multi-6 and 7 figures, the way that they look at the good is completely different for the most part than coaches who are drastically below that. So looking at the good is one thing. Looking at the bad, what I've always noticed with coaches who are, consistently below, let's say 30 or 40K a year, and then the coaches who are doing 6 figures and above. So this wouldn't even be multi-6, this wouldn't even be deep multi-6, this wouldn't even be 7, but it is certainly a trait of the deep multi-6 and 7 figure coaches. But usually any coach that's doing over 6 figures, this is quite a consistent trait that I find, is that they do not throw the toys out the pram when something doesn't go to plan. The way that they look at things inside their coaching business, and this is marketing, but it's also business, and it's also probably extended to lifestyle in some sort of a way as well. They don't expect that, number one, everything goes to plan the second that they start it. But second of all, they look at everything with like a scientific look. Like Jack is one of our clients. He actually did a training for all of our coaches 2 Fridays ago, and it was absolutely amazing, massively attended. The feedback was insane. But he took his business borderline from scratch right up to consistent 15K plus months inside his coaching business in a relatively quick period of time as well. But he was talking about this as the key thing that he believes that got him to that position was being able to do that, is being able to look at every single thing as a scientist. And it's like, we're either going to win or we're going to learn and we're going to refine and then we're going to do it better. And so when you go into your marketing, when you go into your business, when you go into the biggest businesses in the world, the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, the entrepreneurs that everybody looks up to, the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezoses and everybody else, they didn't get every single thing right. They tested many things. They found the things that were right for them, and then they didn't settle. They took things to the next level by focusing on those things to see how they could become the greatest proponents of their marketing and their business product suite. It's the same thing that's true here. So the bad doesn't warp them. It doesn't take them away from their focus. They look at anything that doesn't go to plan as, so what can I learn from this to ensure that the next time that I do it, it's even more successful? And then simultaneously, the great things that happen inside their coaching businesses as well, they don't get complacent with it. They still look at it as 20 days left in the month to go and do amazing things. And trait number 6, I gave a little bit of a spoiler here, but something else that I've noticed across the board, and this is especially in the deep multi-6 and 7 figure coaches, is they absolutely never settle for good. They don't even settle for great. There's always room in their mind to take things to the next level. And it's just something to understand about marketing and growing a coaching business in general. If you're not aware, the distance between something that is like a brand new idea, something that you're about to do inside your business, and then getting it to the point where it generates clients, that's the most difficult part. It's the most time-consuming part. It's got the most testing associated with it. It's got the most moving pieces. But when something becomes something that can take a stranger to the point of becoming a client, something really interesting happens. Getting it to the point where it, for instance, generated 10 clients the last time you did it, and getting it to the point where it can generate 30 clients the next time you do it can sometimes be the smallest of tweaks. It can be, you've got a live masterclass. Now you've had to put all the slides together, come up with the topic, come up with the name for it, come up with the ads for it. You've had to come up with emails for it, reminders, follow-up strategies. What are you going to pitch? Many moving parts, and any of these strategies that we have inside our programs, we fully template start to finish to make them as quick and as easy to install into these coaching businesses, but also everything's tried and tested to death, so the success rate can be really high. But when you actually get it to the point in which you've done all of those things, all of those time-consuming parts, and you get 10 clients out the other side, The high level coaches, the coaches who are doing multi-six, deep multi-six and 7 figures, they don't go, oh, I spent 1,000 on my ads and I got 10 clients at 1,000 and I made £10,000. I made £10,000 from a 1 hour or a 90-minute masterclass, and I've now got this system that I can just repeat and repeat and repeat. That's phenomenal that they're in that position. 10x return on their ad spend. They have something that they can turn on and off like a tap. How often do they want to run it is a great thing that they can now start to think about. But all of the highest end coaches have always said to me, this is what happened in the last one. What would you do next to make this even more successful? So they do not settle for good. You could argue that that is great. You could argue at £1,000 in and £10,000 back is great. Josh, for instance, runs live masterclasses where he spent £1,000 and returned £19,000 or more now from that repeatable system. But Josh is a perfect example of it once again, because he is the type of person that is always saying, this is what happened, how can I make it better? And I remember being on a Q&A with him and he said, this is what happened, this is the numbers, this is the show rate, this is the sales rate. Many coaches, especially newer coaches, would have just been over the moon with it. Josh said, how can I improve the show rate? He had an amazing return on his ad spend, thousands of pounds, all-time record month, and he was coming to the call to ask, how can I make this better? And so what we said was, introduce SMS marketing. We want you to do this, and this with your SMS marketing. We showed him the system to use, what to say, when to say it, how to say it. And what happened? The very next one he did, he doubled the show rates. In fact, he said he more than doubled the show rates on the next one that he did. That's how powerful this concept is, to not settle for good and maybe not even settle for great, because the distance between a new idea and getting clients is the difficult part. And when you have that system that can get clients every time you turn the tap back on, you want to be asking yourself consistently, how can this get better? How can I improve the results, lower the cost per lead, increase the conversion rate, and take your business to a whole new level? And trait number 7 here to close us out is that they have always had priorities outside of themselves. Every single high-performing coach that I have worked with has always had things or people outside of themselves that were really, really important to them, that they were prioritizing, as well as, inverted commas, the growth of the business, inverted commas, authority status, inverted commas, all of those like trigger words that you hear about reasons for growing a coaching business. Their thing most commonly, and I suppose like attracts like, if anybody here has been following me for any length of time, you know that I spend the majority of my days with my wife and my son, and I love every second of it, and it's incredible and it's so fulfilling. And the same thing that's true for me is true for the people that we attract into our coaching business. They typically have people around them that they want to support and they want to build an incredible life for. And so when the mission becomes outside of yourself, it's much easier to make sure that you are not procrastinating. That if you say that you're going to do something, you do it. And even better, if you feel resistance around something, if you know that it's the right thing for your coaching business, you get it done. And so I hope these 7 traits of 7-figure coaches has been valuable to you. If it has been, please let me know in the comments below. It means a lot to get that feedback from you. And of course, if you've got any questions or any other follow-ups that you would like me to do, even if it's one of these 7 bullets and you'd like me to go into more detail or whatever it may be, then please let me know in the comments as well. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you want to get 2 or 3 of these videos every single week. And of course, we've got a ton of other videos on this channel. I'll throw a couple on the end screen right here for you to go through. There are some key videos of recent memory, and I will see you again on the next video.